Hi, I'm Alan Brady. You remember me from the Alan Brady Show?
Yes, if Alan needs any help.
Shut up, Mel.
Yes, sir.
Shut up, Mel.
Shut up, Mel. Yes, sir.
I had the best TV writers on my show. Rob Petrie, Sally Rogers,
Hey, I got it! Don't anybody move!
and Buddy Sorrell.
Whoa. Hey, you moved, I forgot it!
On the Dick Van Dyke Show here,
Alan, if you're...
Shut Up Mel, on MeTV.
Weeknights at 9:30, 8:30 Central on MeTV.
What's the matter with you?
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this edition of Connect with Me, live from the showroom floor at Ventura TV on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6. Your phone calls are important today. 436 Me TV, a very important guest. He was our first guest a year ago. Al Smith, the head of the chamber here in Fresno. Back with your phone calls in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
So much to cover on this day here on Tuesday. The focus is on business. A lot of ground to cover. Al Smith is going to be our guest here. He's the head of the chamber, very well respected in this area. He was our first guest just a year ago, but there's so much to talk about. You know, we're going to focus on Measure G. Of course, we did yesterday. My thanks both to Dennis Hart, who used to work at KMJ, I say that jokingly, and George Hostetter, the Fresno Bee. Measure G, you're going to hear so much more about it between now and June the 4th. That's when the election is. But we'll talk about high-speed rail. We'll talk about other businesses. Hey, we'll talk about the new president that should be appointed, I would tend to think, by this time sometime next week, maybe the middle of next week, maybe by the end of next week. That's what all the experts are saying. But Al Smith, I mean, he's a gem of a guy. He ran KMJ for 16 years. He's been in broadcasting almost as long as I've been alive. And how old am I? I don't know. I've lost track. But anyway, he is a broadcasting expert. He's a business expert. He runs the chamber. Live in our studio right now is Al Smith, our very first guest here on Connect with Me. I almost said on KMJ, because when I think of Al Smith, I think of KMJ so often. And we're going to talk about KMJ and even the new ESPN. You know, Fresno State football, basketball, baseball, shifting over to Chris Pacheco's station, of course, starting this coming year. That affects business to a certain extent. We'll ask Al about that and your phone calls. 436 Me TV. Remember to hit option 11. We changed our phone number a few weeks ago, 436 Me TV. Wade through it all and then hit option 11. And we'll see you back on the other side of this break in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low-price leading brands reliable advice place. The Whirlpool Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. Check this out. Right now, get huge savings on select Whirlpool appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
And welcome back. Today is the focus on business. It's Business Tuesday here on Connect with Me on MeTV, and glad to welcome back our first guest ever, Al Smith. How are you,
pleasure.
my friend?
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be anywhere a year later at this age. So, but I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled that you're still here, and the thing seems to be going very well. And congratulations on the show.
Well, thank you very much, Al. I appreciate you being here. And you know, let's not wait so long for you to come back. It's been a year. You know, you got to come back more often, be a regular guest here like all the rest of these.
I've always enjoyed it, so anytime.
People that show up like Dennis Hart and Hostetter, they're all regulars here.
You know, Dennis Hart has retired from KMJ so many times, and he keeps showing. I keep turning on the radio, and there's Dennis Hart back on the air. I'm thinking, what happened? I thought you went away. But
can't get rid of that guy.
He's a great street reporter. You know, every station, every news station, and you came out of the news department, there are certain people who are just terrific on the street. Mm-hmm. There are certain great guys who are great anchors and reporters, but then there's a certain breed of cat out there who just George Hostetter's that way, Dennis Hart's that way. They just love to be on the street, knocking on doors, peeling back the onion, trying to find out a piece of information that the majority of the people don't obviously see. And Dennis falls into that category. I admire him a lot.
I think you're kind of born with that skill. Yeah, and it's hard to teach that, but you're kind of born with it. But I think you're right. And yesterday they were both here going at it. They're good friends. Of course, I'm good friends with both of them, and they're great guys. We talked about Measure G until we were blue in the face. So what do you make of all this, and where do you stand on the issue?
Well, we stand in support of Measure G.
Okay.
I think the city is in a very critical crossroads financially. I think nobody wants to use the bankruptcy word, but I think it is hanging over everybody's heads.
You think that could happen?
Oh, sure. In fact, excuse me, I checked a couple of Vallejo, Stockton, talked to a couple of the chamber executives in those communities about what did that do to your city? What kind of impact when you declared bankruptcy happened? And, there was a level of, well, it really didn't matter too much. But when you got into bonding and cities' credit ratings and business expansion and people wanting to move into a community, as far as a business expansion is concerned, not necessarily residential, but residential follows, there was a huge black mark against that community.
So Al, break it down for us. For a lot of people, and even it's convoluted for me, how important is bonding and credit rating for a city? How important is that to its economic health?
Well, any major project you're going to do is going to not be able to write out of your paycheck. If you go buy a car, if you buy an expensive television set here, and you don't have the cash in your back pocket to do it, you go borrow money. That's what bonding is borrowing money. So it's
like having a credit rating.
Sure.
Basically.
And so they look at you and they say, okay, well, you got a great credit rating or you got a so-so credit rating. If you got a great credit rating, your interest is this. If you got a so-so, your interest is this, and you're going to pay higher interest rates. So the financial health of a community can determine how much it will spend in borrowing money for major projects. That's why that's important.
And our credit rating has gone down.
Yeah.
It has gone down.
And it would go down even worse.
If this fails, if
Sure.
Measure G fails?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that. Rhetoric is cheap these days as far as Measure G is concerned. But if it fails, there's got to have other changes. You've got to stop the bleeding somewhere.
In your estimation, besides the bond rating and maybe the credit rating, what other ramifications will there be if Measure G fails?
Well, I think we've already lost about a third of our employees at City Hall. You'll lose more. I think police and fire is everybody says, well, you're using all those buzzwords and trying to scare the people with those words. But the reality is that they've lost most of the desk people in the police department.
Yeah.
They are not replacing people who have retired out of the police department, so that the force has gone down.
They're losing people through attrition, basically.
Right, and at the same time that we've got this whole governor's program to send felons back into our community, and we can't keep them in jail. That's a sort of a merry-go-round down there. Somebody was talking about one of our local merchants who says, I know who the guy is that steals from me all the time. I mean, we're almost friends. He's stolen from me so many times, but we send him downtown, and he's 2 days back on the street stealing from me again. But nobody can do anything about it. So you have this influx of public safety concerns. At the same time, you have a reduced police department and a possibility of a fire station closing. That's serious stuff for the quality of life of any community. And so, I said in front of City Council 3 or 4 weeks ago, if you don't support this, then give us another plan. The 3 councilmen that have been pushing back on this, all quality men, like them all, have good relationships with them, but give me a plan that says, if we don't do this, let's do it this way. And the only answer we've had is, let's raise more taxes.
Yeah, that would be Sal Quintero, Blong-Jong, and can't think of the other one.
Olivier.
Anyway.
No. Oliver Baines.
Oliver Baines.
And Oliver Baines is saying we need to pass a public safety tax. Well, my sense is, why would you do that first? Why would you do that last? I mean, we just did 2, 3 more taxes. We had a state tax, a local tax, and now we want to come back with another tax. And even if there is a way in which to make this happen, 90% of the cities in the state of California outsource their trash collection. Mm-hmm. Why shouldn't we? If it will help balance the budget, if it'll give us $2.5 million a year.
Plus a $1.5 million signing
bonus. and it's an ongoing thing. If there's all of the safeguards in there about not being able to stick it to the taxpayer down the road, they can get the trucks back if they don't perform up to expectations. You know, to me, it's a guaranteed employment for the people that are there. If they, you know, we were talking earlier, it's ironic you have two unions working. You have a blue-collar union and a white-collar union working in concert to oppose this.
At the City Hall.
At City Hall. Yeah. But if it fails, the blue-collar union will have won, but the white-collar union will have layoffs. Does that make you sort of have two unions cooperating, but one of them's going to get hurt either way?
Yeah, so what you're saying is if the union wins, one half of that union loses.
Right.
On the flip side of that.
So so I just think it's an important issue, and it's going to be, you know, it's an off election. Turnout's going to be low. I'm sure the key to its success will be who can get their people to the polls the most.
Who can do the most advertising,
right.
maybe.
But forever, this city has been very, very liberal in its benefits and its pay to its employees, and we have got to come to a reckoning that has to change.
All right, do have a phone call before we take a break. Good morning, you're on Connect with Me. How are you? Hello? You're on the air. Go ahead. Oh, okay.
That was close.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I'll second the motion. All right, we're talking with Al Smith. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number. Call in, be patient, get on the air, turn down the sound on your TV. That can often be a problem. We're back with Al Smith in just a moment.
Weeknights on ME-TV. Who loves you, baby?
You shouldn't ask.
It's Kojak.
Well, it sounds like music to my ear.
On ME-TV.
Look at me.
Why do we love him?
Maybe it's the way I comb my hair.
Or maybe it's his trusty right-hand man.
More bite? Crocker! Crocker! Crocker!
Kojak!
Well, I just wanted to hear how it sounded.
Telly Savalas is Kojak.
Story of my life, baby.
Weeknights at 12:30, 11:30 Central on ME-TV.
Who loves you?
And the focus today, of course, is on business. Al Smith, the guest here on Connect with Me. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number. Remember to hit option 11. That is on your screen right now. And Al, you know, I want to know how will this affect business overall in the city of Fresno if this Measure G fails? Will it affect other businesses? And if so, how, in your opinion?
Well, you know, it's going to affect all of our quality of life, not just business. But as articulated earlier, you know, if we want to broaden our economic base, agriculture is our backbone. We love it. We do it well. We feed the world. You know, we want to protect it, but we need, like all things, we need to turn into a mutual fund. We need to diversify our economic foundation. And if we are going to do that, we need to be able to attract new industries, new organizations, new opportunities in the community. And if you've got that black mark on you, I think it's going to have a lasting impact on all of our future. It won't be disastrous, but it'll be very difficult.
Quick phone call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, John.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Good. Listen, to your host and yourself, from yesterday's program, they checked on the pay of the drivers, trash pickup drivers. How did that happen where what their salary is pretty good, considering they're not a college degree person? I'm assuming most of them may not be.
Yeah, I think George Hostetter of the Fresno Bee, I think, mentioned, if you heard the program, that they're paid anywhere from $70 to $80 grand a year, which is a good
70.
Good middle class living. Go ahead.
Do they vote on that? Is that a vote on, or just how does that work? I mean, that's awfully high.
Well, I think we are suffering from years of bad negotiating at the union table, at the negotiating table, and I think that's changing. You know, it's amazing that when when things are going well, we're very liberal with our benefits. What happens is that we make these bad deals that are not temporary in nature, but they go on forever, and then we have to eat them in bad times.
So in good times, what are you saying? Cities like Fresno and other cities around the country, they start spending money like a drunken sailor? Is that it?
For sure. And all the special interests get taken care of because the politicians who make the decisions want to be reelected, and they want everybody to love them.
Right.
So we're suffering from the fact that we have been giving a lot of benefits, salaries, retirement benefits, and things of that nature on the local level as well as the state level. I mean, we have the same problem on the state. We have unfunded liabilities and pensions and retirement programs that's going to reach around and bite us right in the rear end very, very shortly that nobody even wants to talk about. But we have negotiated those things, and then we put crazy things into play. For instance, if I am a garbage worker and I have a route to do, and I can do my route instead of 8 hours, I can do it in 5, then I can sign back on to another route at time and a half on the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So we're paying for 8 hours, getting 5 hours worth of service, very effective 5 hours worth of service, but the union contract says now I can go back on to somebody else's route and pick it up. So now the guy who's really supposed to be making $45,000 or $50,000 a year is making $80,000 a year because he's capitalizing on that little flaw in the way we have designed this thing. And and that's one of the things.
You're talking about a negotiating flaw, basically, during good times.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so those are the kinds of things that people take a look at and say, how does a guy who's making, with that education, making that kind of money and continuing to have great benefits and great hospital medical benefits and retirement programs continue on? And this mayor, bless her heart, that's an old Southern phrase, but bless her heart, she has said, hey, I'm not against the unions, I'm just against bad deals. And we have got to correct this city's future by making better deals.
Right.
We have a lot of union contracts that are coming up for renegotiation in the next couple of years. You see the FPOA coming and say, hey, we'll give you $8 million to help you out. We're out of the kindness of our hearts. Just extend our contract a year and a half, which of course cost us $16 million. I'd make that deal all day long. So those are the kinds of things that are being thrown about to try to solve this problem.
You're looking at this from a business standpoint, which is great, and you're a great businessman. I know you are. You're head of the chamber. But let me just bring up something to you that George Hofstadter of the Fresno Beast said yesterday, and then you can comment. He said there is no winner in this deal because from the union standpoint, if they lose, then like you say, they're going to get workers that instead of making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, their pay is going to go down. They'll not have the guaranteed jobs. Perhaps our rates will go up. There's a question as to whether or not the city can use that reserve fund. But on the other hand, if the city loses, now they're going to be hurting because they're going to be losing that $2.5 million franchise fee plus a $1.5 million signing bonus. So no matter who wins, there's obviously going to be a loser, but how do you react to that?
Well,
what George said.
I don't know that you have a guaranteed employment contract. I sure don't.
Right. No, I don't.
That's right. And I've had to take cuts in pay sometimes during bad times when I worked for an employer.
Have.
Right. So who is it? I looked all through the Bible and I could not find anywhere where it is written that this segment of people must pick up the garbage at this rate. I mean, I just don't understand.
Is this issue convoluted, or is it, or in your eyes,
well, it's
not
self-serving? If I have a contract, if I have a contract that I think I'm valuable to you, and I can get enough people on my side to say, hey, don't cut Al's pay and don't let him go, because if you do, I'm going to walk out. I'm going to put pressure on you to take care of my friend. Then that's just the marketplace. And so why this is got to be so sacrosanct, I don't know. Because it's not even good times.
Because you're saying it makes good business sense.
It makes not business sense, just logic.
Right.
The dollar is a dollar.
Which has gone down, by the way.
That's right.
Good morning. You're on Connect with me with Al Smith. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. The garbage issue, of course, is probably going to be put to bed soon. Thinking about the mayor's legacy as she is in her second term, well into her second term. This is going to haunt her if it doesn't happen, the garbage privatization plan. But what about Al, what about homelessness? Is this something that's going to be a lasting part? Is it going to be a permanent part of her legacy? Is there a solution? Do you see a solution in the short term and the long term? What's going to happen? Is Fresno forever going to be identified as one of the plagued by homelessness? Thank you.
Well, thanks for the question. Legacies are made up of a lot of ingredients, and I'm not sure what the lasting one will be on this mayor. I have to give her kudos for not taking the easy way out on a lot of crucial issues, and homelessness one has been one that she tried to address very early in her administration and has had problems with it. As you know, the civil rights people got involved, the liberties people got involved. We can't even clean up after the trash people. Everybody right now is sort of scared to touch that issue for fear of getting their fingers burned, because the courts slap them down and we get into other lawsuits. So I don't know the answer. If it was easy, San Francisco would have solved it, I'm sure, long ago.
All right, good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Yes.
Hi, speak up.
Make a comment on the garbage.
Yeah, go ahead and speak up, please.
Yes, I think that those people that are working aren't a particular segment of people. They're just working people. And I think that the person you have there doesn't quite understand. The garbage bill should have been lowered 5 years ago, and they have not done that. Thank you.
Well, I think I work as hard as the next person, and I'm not sure that I'm any smarter or better or lesser than either one of those people on the garbage trucks. They all look. You want to see the value of a garbage collector? Let them go on strike and see how quickly your garbage piles up. They're vital to our community. Nobody is ever taking away the importance of those people and the services that they deliver. The question is, the bigger question is, what does the marketplace pay for that job? And should a city who is in dire financial straits be locked into an agreement that is above what the norm is? And if that's the case and we can't solve the problems, what happens to the city in general? Not just the garbage workers. What happens to all the other workers, the police departments, the firemen, our businesses as they go down in a community?
Yeah,
so the ripple
private business too.
Yeah, the ripple effect across this community is huge. So you can't hold just one segment by themselves and say, well, they're doing a great job. We expect them to do a great job. We pay them to do a great job. And I don't want to take that away from them, but I also want to recognize that that does not give them immunity from the economics of the situation.
Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you? Hello? Are you there? Go ahead and speak. Turn your TV down and go ahead and speak. Hello? Okay. All right, we got to go to commercial break anyway, but some good calls today. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number. Talking to Al Smith, the head of the chamber, about Measure G and anything else you want to talk about. Back in a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
We've got about 6 minutes left in the program. 436-ME-TV, hit option 11. Al Smith is our guest. And remember, if you do call in, turn down the sound on your television, please, because we won't be able to hear you and you won't be able to hear us. And then try to speak up as loudly as you possibly can. And so you were saying the last statement you made was the fact that just because the garbage collectors, sanitation collectors, as we like to call them, are doing a great job, they're fantastic. We need them. They're not immune to these same economic problems that we all are not immune to. We're all in the same boat. Sure. We're all in this together, is what you're saying.
Right. And if things were terrific, you want to appreciate your employees. You want to show them all the rewards that great performances do, but things aren't that way.
Now, when Hostetter and Dennis Hart were in here yesterday, they were saying that Jackie Parks, the head of the police union, he muddied the waters last week, I should say, by going public and saying, "Hey, look, we'll make $8 million in concessions." That was a a call by Jackie Parks that was done on purpose to muddy the issue. You agree with that?
Well, sure. Now, there's the old saying in politics: if you can't win an argument, confuse the argument.
Because if you confuse the argument, people will go to the polls and vote no.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And so, and I'm not saying that they're winning or losing the argument, but that it is a strategy that says, hey, if things are going down this road, I'm going to throw a little hand grenade in at the last minute. and
that was the Jackie Parks hand grenade?
Yeah, and he threw out an $8 million. Gosh, $8 million you're going to give us back to the city? That will solve all of our problems. Not realizing it's going to cost $16 million to take your 8.
All right. Good morning. You're on Connect with me. How are you?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Speak up. Go ahead. Speak up.
Yes, I called the other day on this garbage issue, and I don't know if you did hear it or not, but I have a couple of apartments here in Fresno, and they told us that when we call in that they were going to take and lower our rates or that it wouldn't go up. Well, my rates went up on the first year about $650, so I don't know how true that's going to be. And it was also mid-state that I deal with now. So they found ways around to raise the rate. Even though, and that was within the first year.
All right, so what's your question?
No, I just want to make a statement because she said that your rates would go down, and that's not necessarily true. Because I own apartments on Maroa and on Tillman, and those rates went up.
Well, do you live in the county or the city?
The city.
Okay.
But these are commercial rates, right?
That's commercial rates, yeah.
So his
but if they tell you that on one,
but that's different.
You got to
than,
wonder about the other too.
Yeah, but, so I guess what you're saying is that even though they say it's this, they can find ways to get around it by doing it another way. Is that kind of your point?
Yeah, and that's not necessarily city that did the rate, that raised the rates. They, like for instance with me, they said, well, if we have to push the gondola more than 25 feet or something like that, then we charge $25 more.
Yeah, and you know those, and I can't speak to it. I'm sure that in any of these, I mean, there's how many homes are we talking about that this is going to be impacted in the city, which is 125,000 or something like that. With 125,000 accounts, I'm sure there's going to be some glitches somewhere along the line.
Well, the first 2 years, Mid-Valley, according to the contract, they're going to lower the rates 17 to 18%.
Right.
And then they'll up them 3 to 5%.
Right. But he's saying they will find a sneaky way to get around that. Is that correct, caller?
I don't really know because I didn't pay that much attention to it, which I should have when they were actually going commercial.
All I would do is I'd call your councilman, whoever represents your district, and you're in Maroa, so would that be Blong's district?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would call your councilman and ask him about that.
So,
and
yeah, that's true. I could call him. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's why your councilmen are there. They're there to serve you, and when there are these kinds of obstacles you're running across, they'll either explain to you what they're doing and why they're doing it, and you can either accept, reject, or try to modify it, but you probably won't modify
it.
But at least you'll get an explanation.
When they tell you that it's going to be lower, I'm talking about mid-state said that it was going to be lower.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me, is that they said that it wouldn't go up. And all of a sudden I find out from their technicalities, well, if we have to use another truck or if we have to walk 25 feet, then we charge more.
And
well, that's not what the...
Those are valid questions to ask about. And so that's why your your councilman is there, and I'd call him up and say, please explain this to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
okay,
thank you much for your call.
Of that. Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. And so how does the city crack down on Mid-Valley if they, in fact, privatize this measure so they don't pull a fast one?
Well, there are some built-in safeguards in the thing, and the city does have the wherewithal to cancel the contract, take back whatever hard equipment is out there if they don't meet this criteria.
Right.
So, and all of that will be run by the city council. This is not a mayor's decision. This is something that the entire council will have to deal with. So, you know, there's no perfect situation, I guess, but I think the safeguards are there to make this work.
Yeah, and they privatized the commercial side a year ago, I believe.
Right.
Year or two ago.
And, you know, you've just heard one example that there was a problem. And I've heard a couple of people say, well, look, I had a problem with that. But by and large, it's been pretty good.
Al Smith, come back a lot sooner than you did last time. That's our program for today. Jack Wiegand, the 20-year-old trying to fly around the world, is our guest tomorrow. Back with more on Me TV Fresno tomorrow.